Hi, and welcome to HitMic. I'm Colin Hung, and today I'm sitting down with Eric Silberman, CEO of True North Custom. Eric, welcome to the program.
Colin, thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here and really excited about the award that you guys gave us as well. Thanks for the opportunity to get together.
We can't wait to get into that, Eric. And yeah, we were just talking beforehand how we've probably crossed paths at various shows, but just never met in person until today, virtually, anyways.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's nice to have you on the program.
Really pleased to be here and really happy to meet you.
So maybe, Eric, for those that aren't familiar with True North Custom, can you give us a quick 2-minute overview about the work you do and the types of healthcare organizations that you work with?
Absolutely. So True North Custom is an integrated content marketing agency for healthcare. And that means two things. We're really focused on helping healthcare organizations amplify their brand. And we're really focused on helping healthcare organizations grow by connecting them with the right consumer audiences, with the right physician audiences to drive referrals and connecting across their employee bases as well. We work with hospitals and health systems across the country. We work with imaging centers, ambulatory surgery centers, physician groups, urgent care providers, and a host of healthcare providers to provide that work. I'm very blessed to work with a team of great individuals, both in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where the company is based, and around the country in the contiguous U.S. And we're really kind of honored to be here talking to you guys today. And yeah, it's a little bit about True North.
All right. Well, thanks for that. And yeah, you kind of touched on it. I mean, you had a phenomenal year last year, and we'll get into that in a second. So I do have to congratulate you, as you mentioned right off the top, that you did win the 2021 Metigy HitMake Award for Agency of the Year in the provider category. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What does winning that award mean to you, and what does it mean for the team?
You know, obviously, we're incredibly honored, and thanks so much for the honor of winning that award. And Agency of the Year is, a really incredible thing to be honored with. And you're right, we had an incredible year last year on the kind of business metric side. We had double-digit growth, and certainly considering the year so many of us had last year, that feels like a kind of wonderful response from the provider market for how our services and team could help. And so I think, what does it mean to win the award? I think that kind of recognition is a really meaningful piece for me, for the company, and for our team. Our team really dug in and worked incredibly hard on what we were able to achieve with our clients every year, of course, but last year, and to be recognized with your award is a real honor. But the other piece, I mean, as honored as I am to have won that award, our client work was recognized by you guys as well. So the work that we did for American Health Imaging, the work that we did with Beaufort Memorial Hospital in Beaufort, South Carolina, it's really nice to see our clients get the recognition for what, as you know, Colin, is an incredibly collaborative effort, especially when we're talking about amplifying a meaningful brand and really helping to connect consumers in a way that helps them get the care that they're looking for and need.
Yeah, no, thanks for that reminder. Your clients did win a few awards on their own because of some of their programs and some of the initiatives that they had. So that is certainly a testament to your team's work and of course to their work. Is there any one project that stands out for you in the past 12 months? Anything that you're particularly proud of or was particularly unique?
Well, I tell you, it's a great question, and I don't mean to be mealy-mouthed at all when I say I am particularly proud of all of our work and our team. But I'll talk about a category of work that does stand out to me, and I'm so pleased with the results that we've been able to achieve with our clients and what that means for their communities. And that is our growth efforts with integrated campaigns. And so when I think about the targeting methodology across print and digital, really helping our clients find consumers with high intent and get them connected to the care that they need. The nobility of purpose there is really meaningful to me, but also the outcomes have been just really excellent. And I tell you, the the thing about this that stands out to me is our business has always been built around providing really custom, really excellent content. And what we have found and what we have learned is that intersecting really precise digital targeting around what consumers are searching for with really, really good content, like that stitching together makes all the difference in terms of outcomes. And I'll give you a quick example, which is if you look at, for example, our lead campaigns that are bringing consumers into hospitals, a big portion of those consumers, they're exploring and thinking about what their options are, not just in terms of where to consume care, but if they should consume care and what type of care that they can consume. And I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit, but one of the things that is front and center right now is consumers are looking to their healthcare providers more than they ever have before as a trusted resource for information. And so as a content company, I mean, talk about this perfect intersection of preparation and opportunity that turns into luck. Like, we're developing really custom, meaningful content that is there when consumers are trying to decide what to do. And we're able to use that to not just serve up what consumers are looking for, but to create a closed loop that nurtures those consumers along so that when they decide, if they decide to consume care, that we're there and ready to connect them with our clients. And that type of work, that's what has been so exciting to me. And it's really rewarding. It's really rewarding to have built as an organization that solution that was right there at the ready when consumers turned their attention to healthcare providers with renewed vigor. And that's been great.
And just to be clear, I mean, the content that you're talking about that helps a consumer make those decisions is very educational at that phase of their journey, right? It's a lot about maybe perhaps some diseases or perhaps the treatment options and those kinds of, like, that's the kind of content you're talking about, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, what we've found, and there's some nuance to this, but at a base level, is that we can really effectively develop content that's for consumers that are at the bottom of the funnel, those individuals who are ready to make a decision today. And it's really just about access and path and kind of expectation, right? But so many of consumers are a little higher in that journey, and they need something totally different. They need to understand and educate and be able to do some evaluative work on their own, and building that content to serve those consumers and making sure that it's really well woven into that conversion path for our hospital and health system clients. That's the piece that works so well.
I have to ask you this, because you do so much close work with hospitals and health systems, as well as imaging clinics and so forth. What opportunities are you seeing for your clients, or what sort of opportunities are your clients seeing in the next 6 to 12 months?
Sure. There are a number of forces at play externally that are driving a ton of opportunities for our clients. And you're familiar with every single one of them, I know. One of them is this kind of renewed focus on healthcare as a trusted advisor for consumers. That's one. The second is the entrance of new competitors every day into the provider space, and kind of the opportunity for legacy providers to compete in that space, and for new entrants to kind of look at where their opportunities are to bring something new to market for consumers. Simultaneously, consumer loyalty for healthcare is lower than it's ever been at this same moment in time where healthcare is more trusted than it's ever been, right? And my colleague made the observation, the hard work of marketing got done for us last year. And by that, I mean, everybody had to change how they do everything, including consuming care. And that's the big effort that we all have to make, right? Is convincing people to invest in making some sort of change, right? In order to connect them with our brand or our businesses. That part got done. So it created this incredible opportunity while simultaneously creating or aligning with this incredible competitive market. And so that's where I see the opportunity for our clients today, is making sure that they're leapfrogging forward in how they're connecting to consumers. I've had the great privilege over the last 6 months. We've been running a podcast, Healthcare Insight podcast. I've talked to dozens of kind of thought leaders in the healthcare space. One that stands out is a conversation I had recently with Nicole Baxter at HCA Healthcare. And she said, the boring spot in marketing is already taken. So like our opportunity is to look at these kind of market forces, these consumer consumption dynamics, and to think about how we really come alongside what consumers are searching for and need in a way that kind of helps them make a good decision in healthcare. And that's where I think all the opportunity is.
Let me turn the question around and ask you this one. What opportunities or challenges are you seeing for healthcare agencies in the next 6 to 12 months? Is there anything that you're anticipating coming down the road at us?
Well, I think from an agency standpoint, the opportunity to make sure that we continue to really effectively adapt to the technology advancements and changes, from a consumer privacy standpoint and from a kind of platform development standpoint and from a following where consumers are in a way that allows agencies to really connect with consumers in a meaningful way. Like that's a moving target, and one that really rewards those who are looking at where the ball is going to be or where the puck is going to be. And I think that's probably not a new challenge, right, Colin? But it is one that feels as though it amplifies each year. If we think about kind of that, well, I guess it goes this way, right up and to the right. I can't tell if my camera. But if we think about that kind of amplification curve of technology and what that means for the distribution of consumer attention, that challenge does, truly amplify every year and rewards those agencies that are good at connecting meaningfully with the stories and perspective that consumers, physicians, employees are looking for.
First of all, thank you for throwing the hockey puck analogy in there. As a Canadian, I'm very happy about that.
No problem. I remember you told me you were in Toronto, so I felt like I kind of whiffed when I talked about that.
No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I think if anything, the last 12 months have really taught us that we really have to have our eye on the market forces. Not that we could have predicted the pandemic. I'm not saying that, but the forces that came after it hit. The fact that we would all have to move virtual, the fact that people would be seeking care in new ways, the fact that all of a sudden people would take an interest in microbiology and infection control practices and things, and we could have probably anticipated a lot of the anti-vax and the hesitancy around vaccines and how that would become an issue in the later stages of the pandemic. So I think it's a great challenge to think about. And I think hopefully the lesson learned from the last 6 to 12 months has been, hey, we really need to cast our net wider than the narrow view of the 1 or 2 target markets that we're going after.
Yeah, absolutely. So my friend and former colleague, guy named Jim Hobson, he sent me a note the other day about just kind of in this space of what's next, about the opportunity to give voice to your physicians around kind of standards and care, and kind of the particularly in the social environment, there is so much clutter around misinformation and disinformation that one of the opportunities that I think we have as healthcare organizations is to make sure that we're really amplifying the voices of our trusted advisors. I mean, like we talked about, consumers are looking to us for that information. And so often we think about this kind of centralized point of information dissemination from corporate marketing, right? But to be able to socialize, to make more social this kind of amplification of that message through our caregivers, employees, and consumers, like that, those changes, those are the little incremental pieces, obviously in my space in the content world, that make a big difference in how we continue to differentiate and stay out in front.
You've mentioned this a couple of times, so I do want to ask you this question. You mentioned trust a few times. Do you feel that healthcare is still a trusted partner, or do you think that there's been erosion of that trust and that healthcare organizations need to be cognizant of that as they go back into the market now?
It's a great question, and it's one I think we could probably spend some time on, so you can decide how much. My view, my belief, and I'll be interested to compare this to your perspective, is that prior in but 2019 and what, let's just say 2010 to 2019, when I thought, and I mean, this slide was in presentations that I made at conferences. It's like you look at who do you trust, and it was like, I don't, maybe teachers or an airline pilots or something at the top, and then like down here is like sales, and then like down here is marketing, like at the very bottom of the trust funnel. It's like, man, we've got a real trust problem in an organization. That doesn't go away overnight. However, I think from the perspective of what the pandemic created the opportunity for healthcare providers to share with the world in terms of what's happening, how are we addressing it, what should you do? Man, I think we got this huge bump in trust and perspective. But I was talking to somebody on our podcast the other day who made the observation, it's because we earned it, right? And I think that's right, and I think that makes a ton of sense. And the reason that I'm pointing at my charts back here is because if we've moved up the ladder from a trust quotient standpoint, I mean, that's a fleeting thing. Like, think about how long it took us to work our way as marketers down to the bottom of that pyramid and all the things that we did that, kind of earned our spot here. If what we've done in the last 18 to 24 months has earned us a spot halfway up the ladder, like, man, don't they say like trust takes a lifetime to earn and a minute to wipe out? That's perfectly true. So what we do now matters a whole lot, Colin.
Well, I mean, I'm encouraged by a lot of the, or maybe the change in marketing tone that I see happening from a lot of providers. It is certainly a lot more of education. It's a lot more of, things you can do at home to stay safe and these kinds of things. Whereas before, I don't think there was a focus as much of producing that type of content or
Sure.
that kind of messaging. So certainly, I think some organizations are very aware that they have to do more to keep that trust or earn it back in some cases.
Sure. That reminds me of a conversation I had with Dr. Zev Newworth. And Dr. Newworth, you may be familiar with, he wrote a book
Yep.
called Reframing Healthcare. But he talked about kind of demand side versus supply side thinking. And this was kind of, he wasn't talking about the pandemic. This was pre-pandemic narrative, but it was something that resonates with me around the comment that you just made, which is that idea of demand side thinking is all about kind of reorienting not just your marketing, but your organization around what your audiences who you serve need and expect from you. Excuse me, my voice is changing. That opportunity is one that I think it's really accelerated. I think we see that happening in healthcare marketing now, and your comment kind of connects to that. Like, that reframing has been accelerated as so many other changes in our kind of consumption world have been accelerated, and now the question is, can we keep it? How do we continue to push that forward in a way that's constructive? Excuse me for just a second.
Yeah. If I wasn't so far away from my bookshelf, I would reach over for Dr. Newworth's book and show how he signed it. No, I love his book, and you're so totally right about reframing. We need to reframe a lot of things. Again, especially from the last 18 months, a lot of our thinking around marketing and healthcare in general. So I definitely think he was very precognitive. He predicted the future in a certain way.
Yeah.
Dr. Newworth did.
Absolutely. Congrats on the signed book. You beat me there. I've just got a good old copy of his book.
Well, the next time you see him in person, I'm sure he'll sign it. So let me end off by asking you this question. What is one piece of advice that you would like to give to a healthcare organization who may be watching this conversation what can they do? What could they do better? What advice would you give someone like that?
Great question. You know, I think the advice that I would give would be to never settle, that this environment, this moment in time, that healthcare providers have an opportunity to demand excellence from their marketing partners, not just in terms of outcomes for sure, but transparency and strategy, so that you've got real visibility into, because we're talking, Colin, about kind of macro trends, and of course, you've been very gracious to let me talk about that through kind of my lens of how great content served to the right audience makes a difference. But I also connect back to what I mentioned about the challenge of change, which is in an environment where the distribution of audience continues to amplify and spread out, it becomes increasingly imperative to be able to rely on strong partners who will give you the kind of access to their perspective, that you can feel confident in your ability to kind of come alongside one another in the journey of trying to build to the nobility of purpose that we're talking about here, which is amplifying your trust among consumer audiences, to carrying that message out. And so, I'm sure that all of your audience is thinking about these things every day. And how do we make sure that, we've got our arms around how our message is being perceived and how it is being effective, both for our business objectives and the health and wellness of our communities. But what I would say is, look closely at it in the event that you have absence in that regard. I would say look closely at kind of where your partners are coming alongside you, because the best partners in the market, and there are many great partners out there, are going to be on this journey with you, because like we've talked about over the last 30 minutes or so, Colin, we're all learning so much because of the pace of change, and that kind of willingness to do that together to the ends of supporting the health and well-being of the communities we serve. Like, that's the good stuff.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time today. You shared a ton of great information. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program. I have to say congratulations again on winning the 2021 Metigy Award and on launching your new podcast.
Thank you so much, Colin. It's been a real pleasure to speak with you, and thanks for the honor of the award.
This has been Colin Hung for HitMic. Thanks for listening.